So, I once again welcome you all to our learning table series for the month of May. So, I hope many of you are already familiar with our learning table series. But in today's session, if we have any new attendees, then here is a quick introduction about what is learning table series. So, learning table series is a month-on-month series where we will be taking different business use cases and build apps on Creator as a solution for different industries or verticals. Right. So for the past few of the sessions, we have showcased different business specific use cases like the education industry and healthcare, the manufacturing, and even the asset. In order to that, in today's session, we are going to showcase the property management solution. Right. In today's session, we will be understanding how we have built the property management solution on top of the Creator platform, right? So we will be understanding how effectively we can maintain all the tenants' information, the properties, and how we can track all the different work orders that we will be assigning to the vendors, and even the bill payments. All that is something we'll be tracking it within this property management solution, right? So before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. So I'm Niveta and I'll be the trainer for the session. And also we have few housekeeping rules that needs to be followed throughout the session. So all the attendees will be on mute. If you guys have any questions in between the session, you can use the question tab to post all of your queries. We have our dedicated co-trainer who will be answering your queries. Right. And if you would like to rewatch this particular session again, we'll be sending the recording to all the registrants all the attendees post post this particular session. Right. And also we'll be conducting few polls and survey during and after the session. So we would like each and every one of you to actively participate in those polls and survey. So let's get started by understanding the agenda. And before we get started, I would like to turn off my video for the better screen visibility. So let's understand the agenda for today's session. So we will start our session by having a quick introduction to the property management. Followed by that, we will understand the complete life cycle of the property management. And followed by that, we will be understanding the application flow. So we have built the property management solution on top of Creator platform, right? So we'll be understanding in which flow that we have built the property management application. Right, and followed by that we will be understanding the modules. So what are all the different modules that we have used to build this, that we have implemented inside this particular application. And also in today's session we will be understanding different AI capabilities, right? So what are all the different AI enhancements that we have made within this property management. And then we'll be delving into the live demonstration where I'll be taking you all through the application where I'll be giving you a detailed walkthrough of the application, right? And once the demonstration is completed, we will then be discussing about few of the extended use cases. And at the end of the session, we will be discussing about what are all the different features that we have used to build this particular solution, right? So this is pretty much about the agenda. Now, let's have a quick understanding of what is property management, right? So there are two different processes that we will be defining that we can define within the property management. So one is going to be the efficient operation and the other one is going to be the value management. So when I talk about the efficient operation, this is all about the day-to-day task where managing the property listing, handling lease agreements, collecting rent, maintaining tenant records, and overseeing maintenance requests. So these are core operational areas where many property managers might struggle due to manual processes, right? So with a solution like the one that we build in Zoho Creator, all these can be centralized and automated to ensure the smooth, compliant, and timely operations. right? Now, it's not just about the operation, it is also about preserving and increasing the property value. This means you can track the regular upkeep, managing the vendors, keeping up with the payments, and most importantly, building strong relationship with tenants, right? So when all these are done in a right way, this is not only going to improve the tenant satisfaction, but also ensures the long term ROI on the properties, right? Now, now let us understand how the property management life cycle is, right? So talking about the property management life cycle, um, so this is about the this particular image represents the end to end journey of managing any rental property, and it's also essential to understand this particular cycle to streamline every phase, right? So starting with the property acquisition. So what is property acquisition? So here the life cycle begins with acquiring the property, whether it is a new construction, resale, or investment property. And here you will be here you will document property details, ownership info, and compliance paperwork. So once you acquire the property, the next is marketing and leasing. So in the marketing, the next step is to advertise and lease the property. So this involves listing the unit, managing inquiries, scheduling visits, and processing the applications. So where an area where automation can significantly cut down the turnaround time. And then comes the tenant screening and onboarding. So when I talk about the tenant screening and onboarding, so here is where all the background checks and the screenings takes place for the tenants, right? So once the tenants are onboarded, it involves the digital lease signing, initial payment collection, and handling over access or keys, all of which can be tracked digitally. And once the tenants are onboarded, it's like, it is good to maintain a good communication between the tenants, so that we have the tenant relation and the retention. So here you can when you send the timely updates and rent reminders, and you can even have a regular engagement, which will help improve the retention rates. Then we have the maintenance and repairs. So whenever there is any issues that the tenant is facing within the property, they can go ahead and raise request for repairs, and vendor will be assigned to the respective maintenance or the repairs, right? So having a proper ticketing and servicing and service tracking system here is key to both satisfaction and the compliance, right? Then we have our last process, which is lease renewal or termination. So talking about the lease renewal and termination, this is at the end of a lease period. So you will have a certain time limit for the lease agreements, right? So when it reached the end of its lease period, you either initiate the renewal with the revised terms, or you will begin offboarding procedures. So digital renewals, automated reminders, and exit inspection help simplifies this particular process, right? So this is the entire circle, this is the entire cycle that is interconnected, and when it is digitized with Zoho Creator, it offers a single source of truth across department, whether it is finance, operation, or the customer service. So now that we understood what is property management and what is the property management life cycle, now let us also understand let us understand the application flow. So what is the flow that we have used within the Creator platform, right? So here, talking about the flow, so it starts with the agreement. The agreement can be either for the rent or it can be for the lease, right? So once the tenant onboarded successfully, you will be creating the agreement, rental agreement or the lease agreement to the tenant. And once the agreement is created, it goes for the approval process where the owner will check the agreement, and he will be checking all the terms and condition. And then once he or she approves the agreement, it then goes to the tenant. So tenant will be checking out the agreement, and they will be agreeing to they will be agreeing to all the terms and condition which will be mentioned by the owner. So once they read through the agreement, they can go ahead and approve the agreement, right? So once the approval process are done and once the tenant approves, then it will redirect them to security deposit, right? So where the tenant will be paying their security deposit amount, and then the monthly rental will be created. So this is about the agreement completion. So this part alone comes as the agreement, lease agreement or the rental agreement. Now, once it is completed, the tenant will be moved into the respective property, right? So there is going to be a end time for the agreement, right? So if a particular agreement reaches its end time, then the tenant, either they can go ahead and renew the agreement, or they can vacate from the property, right? So if they are choosing to vacate from the property, there is going to be a inspection which will be held with the help of the property manager or the property owner. So they will be checking out the property before the tenant is vacating. If there is any damages happen within the property, or if there is any repairs, all that inspection will be happen over this particular phase. And then once that is successfully completed, the owner will be refunding the security deposit to the tenants, right? And the tenant will be vacated. So this is for the vacating process. And if the tenant would like to stay for a even more little longer within the same property, they can go and renew the agreement, right? So here they can raise the renewal request, and it will be approved by the owner, and the owner will be creating a new agreement, right? So the owner will be creating a new agreement with the revised terms and conditions. So this part alone comes under the rental agreement and the lease agreement, right? Apart from this, we have another flow where once the tenant is moved into the property, the tenant might face any sort of issues with the property. It can be a plumbing issues, or it can be electrical issues, all that, right? So within the property, the tenant will have a dedicated portal where the tenant can go ahead and raise a complaint, right? So whatever the issues that they are facing within the property, they can go ahead and raise them as a complaint, and a vendor will be assigned by the owner, right? Once the vendor is assigned, then once the vendor assigned and once the work is done once the vendor completes the assigned work, then it goes to the payment, right? Where the tenant, either the tenant or the owner will be paying the vendor, right? So this is about the complete application flow. And apart from this, we also have the we also have the tenants module. We have a separate process for that as well, which I'll be explaining in the live demonstration, right? So this is about the application flow. Now let us move on and understand what are all the modules that we have used to develop this particular solution. So talking about the modules, we have the property database. So property database is where I'll be maintaining, as a owner, I'll be maintaining all of my property details, along with that the unit details, right? So each and every property will contains different units, right? So all those unit information I'll be maintaining over here. And then the rental management. So here I'll be creating all my rental agreements, and then the approval process, and I'll be generating the monthly rentals payment. All that happens under the rental management module. And same goes for the lease management. So you will be creating the lease agreement, and then the tenant will be paying the lease payment and the lease time period. If the lease is about to end, it reaches its end period, it goes for the renewal process, right? And then we have payment. So payment or accounting, where all the where all the payment related information will be maintained, such as the auto monthly payments, security deposit, either the tenants are paying or you are refunding to the tenants, or overdue or the penalty payments, all that will be maintained within the payments module. Then we have the compliance. So under compliance, as I mentioned, the tenant will be raising any complaints that they face within the property, and also a vendor will be assigned, and all these complaint can be tracked within the compliance module. And then we have the vendor management. So we where we'll be maintaining the where we'll have a separate database to maintain all the vendor information, right? And we have a separate module, which is the communication module, where if there is any activities, or if there is any internal events happening within the property, the community people or the admin will be creating or will be adding a post within the communication, where all the property owners and the tenants can view the post, right? So basically it's going to be a forum where it's going to be a centralized place for all the announcements, event announcements, activities announcement, all that will happen in a one single place, right? So these are all the modules that we have implemented within the application. Now, let us understand what are all the AI enhancement that we have made within this property management, right? So we have implemented a lot of AI features within the property management solution. One of the AI enhancement that we have made is rental agreement with field extraction. So here is where I'll have a rental form where I'll be generating or I'll be creating the rental agreement, right? So here, what this particular AI feature will do is it will read the rental agreement and it auto populates the field on the add rental form. So this is something that we have achieved with the help of OCR, which is within from the OpenAI or the Zoho's AI, right? So that is one use case that we have used within the AI. And the next is image based defect detection. So this comes under the compliance module, where whenever there is any complaint that the tenants are raising, so all they can do is they can just click a picture of any damaged or the repaired thing, they can upload them within the application, and this AI will analyze the image and it will gives me the title of the complaint and as well as the description of the complaint, right? So that is one. And along with that, we have another AI which will help me to identify whether the complaint is it will gives me the it will provide me the priority level of the complaint, right? If it is a high level, or if it is a low level, or if it is a medium level, this is something again the AI will help me to predict, right? Then we have bill detail extraction. So there is going to be multiple bills that the user will be submitting, right? So or the owner will be submitting for a respective property. So they can have the bills and they can just upload the bill with the file upload field, and whatever the information provided within the image that you are uploading, those information will be extracted and it will show it in the normal fields, right? So these are all the different AI enhancements that we have made within the application. So now let me take you all to the live demonstration, and I'll quickly give you a detailed walkthrough of the property management solution that we have built within the Creator platform. So this is the application, which is the property management solution. So over here, whenever I enter into the application, I'll be landing into the dashboard, right? So in my dashboard, I could see the different panels with different information consisting in it. And along with that, I also have the chart and the pie chart, where it's showing all the compliance status like requested, in progress, completed, and the denied. Then we have the current tenants, outdated agreements, and the recent compliance, right? So within one single page, I'm able to see a lot of information, and this is something that we have achieved with the help of page component. Right. Now let me take you all to the setup part. So within the setup, we have three different modules. One is preferences, users, and the vendors. So when I talk about the preferences, so here is where all the general settings takes place. So when I click on the general, I'll be able to go ahead and configure the time zone, the time format, the date format, the currency format, all that. So whatever the configuration that you are implementing within this particular UI, this particular configuration will be applied throughout your application, right? So based on whichever country that you are accessing this particular application, you can just change the time zone according to your countries and the date format and even the currency type. Then we have the payment configuration. So we have payment configuration. So under payment configuration, you have the rental. So where you can have a default configuration for the rental payment as well as the lease payment. So for the rental, you can provide the base rental monthly amount and the security deposit. So for example, let's say you have different properties with different units, right? So if you would like to rent out all of the units with the same rental price, with the same security deposit, you can just configure those price or those payment information in this particular UI, right? So base rental monthly amount, you can just provide your based on your preference, you can provide the amount and the security deposit. Then we have the lease, and we have additional payment monthly. So if you would like to collect any other extra payment from the tenants, you have that option here. So for example, you can collect the maintenance, water charges, and if you want to add furthermore, you can just click on here and you can add them over here, right? And monthly payment penalty, if the if the tenant is missing out their payment date, if you want to go ahead and if you want to collect any penalty from the tenants, you can configure them over here. So if you click on the yes over here, it will ask you to enter the penalty payment method. Either it can be fixed amount or it can be in the percentage. You can define the penalty in the percentage, and even you can provide the grace days for monthly payment. And we have bill generation, which is the payment reminder notification. So for example, let's say I'm collecting the rent from my tenant on every 10th on every 10th or 15th on each month, right? So based on the based on the payment date, I can create or I can generate the bill, the payment bill before 5 days or before 10 days or even before 3 days, right? So the bill will get generated based on the payment date that you have chosen, right? So here you can provide before which before how many days that you would like to create or generate the bill. So as of now, I have just given 5. And commission. So if the property has any manager, and if the manager needs to if there is any manager commission that you would like to provide, you can give the you can click on the yes from here, and you can choose the category, whether it is from the rental monthly or complaint or agreement. You can provide the you can choose the appropriate category, and you can provide the percentage over here, right? So based on the commission that you provide, based on the percentage that you have provided, the commission will be the commission will go through the manager, right? So this is about the payment configuration. And we have the email templates. So there's going to be multiple email templates that the different users will be receiving. So for example, let's say a tenant is onboarding, right? So when you add a tenant to the to your application, the tenant will receive an email saying that you have been added to this particular application, and here is where you can click on and access the application. So the tenant will have a portal view, right? So there is going to be a mail that you will be sending to the tenant. So whatever the message that you would like to send to the tenant, all that can be configured under the email templates, right? So you have you can see the approvers, manager, owner, the property management, tenant, and the vendor. So like this, you can go ahead and create your default email templates over here, right? And if I just click on here, I'll see I can able to see the templates. I can just go ahead and edit them whenever it is required. Then we have agreement templates. So you will be creating the rental agreement and the lease agreement, right? So those agreement templates can be created over here. I mean, you can have a default agreement that can be created over here. So this goes for both the rent and the lease. Then we have ID setter. So in the ID setter, so let's say bill is getting generated, payment bill is getting generated, right? So whenever there is a bill getting generated, to identify the bills, you need to have a unique bill number, right? So that ID can be pre-configured within this particular page. And whenever a bill is getting generated, it will automatically, ID will be automatically generated without even typing it without even typing it manually. Then we have locations. So a property can be in any locations, right? So for that we have this locations. And then we have the services. So there is going to be multiple services within the property, like the AC service, CCD service, electrical, plumbing. Like this, there can be multiple maintenance service for each of the properties. So those information can be added over here. Then we have the organization, right? So talking about the organization, so if you have your own organization, those information can be added over here. So right now I have added my organization, which is Zilka, along with the phone number, the website, user configuration, tenant, description, terms and condition, and even the notes. Right? So this is all about the preferences. Now moving on to the next part, we have the users. So in the users, there is going to be different set of users who will be accessing this particular application. So one is going to be the admin, and let me refresh this page. So one is going to be the admin and the owner, manager, and the tenant. So admin is someone who will be having the complete access of your application, and owner will be having the owner will be having certain actions within the application. The manager will be having a limited action, and the tenants will be having only limited actions within your application, whereas the tenant will have a separate portal for them, right? By just clicking on this add button, you can add the admins and as well as the other users. And also we have the panel to display how many admins, owners, managers, and tenants are available as of now, right? Then we have vendors. So here is where you'll be maintaining all your vendor information. So this is going to act as the vendor database. By just clicking on the add vendor, here you can give their organization name, the vendor name, profile photo, vendor email, phone number, their address, and what are all the different maintenance services that they will be providing, and along with that, to which property that you would like to assign this particular vendor. So that is something you can do it within this particular UI, right? So this is about the vendor module. Now let me take you all to the master form, which is the properties. So here is where I'll be listing out all of my properties, and I'll be managing my properties over here, right? Along with the property, I have the option to add the unit information. So within one property, there's going to be multiple units, right? So those can be added within here. So I have these tabs where I can just swift to properties and as well as the units. Right. So now let me quickly add a property. So I'll click on this add property button. So this will take me to another UI where I could see we have 3 stages to complete we have three stages to add a property and the units. So here, let me add a property. Let me give a property name saying, and the property type is going to be residential. If it is a commercial, industrial, or land office, or if it is any other, you can provide, you can choose the appropriate options from here. So it's going to be the residential, and the square feet is going to be, let's say, 30,000, and it's located in the Chennai location. And I'm going to give the address of the property. And the country, right? And I can add the property image. So either I can add it as a URL or I can upload it from my local storage. So I have it here. So this is my property image. I'll just upload it. And then I can choose the amenities. So let's say it's the gym. It has gym facility, lift, park, and even the supermarket. Whereas if you want to add any new amenities, you can click on here and you can add the amenities for this particular property. And if you would like to mark this particular property as a single unit, you have the option over here. You can just check this box and this property will be marked as single unit. And if you want to upload any documents that is related to this particular property, you can add them. And also, if you want to assign the vendors to this property, you can assign them directly from here. So there is two way to assign the vendor to a particular property. Either you can add it over here, or in the vendors module you can assign the vendors to the respective properties. So here I'll choose the Zilker as the vendor, and now I'll click on next. So on clicking the next button, it will take me to the next process, which is I need to add the unit details. So here, let me give a unit name. Let's see. One. And the address is automatically fetched, and the owner, I can provide the owner information over here. So if you have added any owners to the users module, those owner list will be those owners list will be displayed in this drop down, right? And then if the property has any manager, you can add the manager over here. So you have, currently there are two managers. You can add the respective manager to the property. If the occupancy type of this particular property, either it can be owned, rent, or lease. So I'll go with the rent. And the unit items, if the property has, and if the unit has any items, for example, if it has any LED lights, or it has any air conditioner, so that information can be added over here. So let's say I'm adding the air conditioner with condition good, and the cost is going to be 25,000. You can upload the image of the item. And apart from this, let's say I also have the LED mirror with a good condition, and it cost 10,000, right? So now when I click on next, and before clicking on next, you have a few more information to be filled in here, which is the size in square feet, the unit size, right? So let's say the unit size is 2,500, and it has 2 bedrooms and has 2 restrooms, 1 living space, and I can enter the unit image. So for example, let's say I'm adding this particular living space, right? So once this is done, once this particular configuration is done, click on the next. It will take you to the payment configuration. So you have added the property details. Along with that, you have associated the unit details. Now you need to go ahead and configure the payment related information for the respective property. So here is where you will have two options: default and modified. when you go with the default, so if you guys remember in the setup module, we had the payment configuration, right? So whatever the configuration that you have predefined within that particular UI, that will be by, if you choose the default, that will be automatically added. Whereas if you want to add your custom values, you can go and click on the modified, and you can provide your own your own custom values over here. So for example, let's say base rental monthly amount is 10,000, security deposit is 50,000, and the base lease amount is, let's say it's 3 lakhs, and the additional payment, so here I'm going to collect the maintenance, so I'll add the maintenance, and let's say it's 1,000. And I'm not going to collect any penalties, and I'm going to I'm going to generate the bill 5 days before the actual payment date. Commission, I'm not going to provide any I'm not going to give any commissions to the managers, so I'll provide no and no here. Now when I click on the finish, the property will be added successfully. If I scroll down, I'll be able to see the property, which is Skyline 88, right? Now, in order to view the unit, I can go to this tab and I can view the unit. But right now, we have a process where once the property and the units are added, the units needs to be approved by the owners, right? So in order to approve the unit, you have the approval module over here, and you could see we have the units, and this is the unit that we have added. So here is where the owner will be approving the units, right? So I'll just click on, when I click on this record, I'll be able to see a detailed view of the units, right? And once you check all the information, you can just click on the approve, and the unit will be added in the units module over here. So if I go to units, I'll able to see the units that I have added. So this is the unit that I have added, which is Skyline 88, Sky 001, right? So once this is done, the next process is, let's say we have a tenant who is interested to occupy this particular property, right? On that case, I'll go to the tenants module, and here I have here I could see different tabs with new tenants, screening process, approved, rejected, all. So approved tenants will be listed here. If I'm rejecting any tenants, they will be listed over here, right? So I'll go to new, and I'll click on the add tenant. I'm going to add a new tenant. So let's say the tenant name is Ginny G, right? And then we have the email. So we'll enter the tenant email. So the tenant email is, so here I have my tenant email. I'll copy this email. And I'll add them over here. Along with that, I'll also provide their phone number. And then the address. So this is going to be the tenant's current address. Postal code is and the country. And then we have another set of details where here is where you will be adding the tenant to the respective property. So I'll say Skyline 88. The unit is the Sky 001. I can add the tenant gender and the date of birth. If you want to provide the profile photo, you can upload them. So it will ask to update the location and the occupation of the tenant. So once I submit this, here the data will be shown under the new tenants. Now, Once if you want to if you want to have the tenants to be moved to the screening process, you have the button move to screening. So this will move this particular tenant to the screening process. So I'll just click on this move to screening. And over here the owner needs to be added, I mean the owner needs to select the screening process for tenant. The occupant type is rent and the monthly rent. The rest of the details should be filled by the uh, tenants. Right now I'll submit this. So once I submit this, the tenant would have received the invitation for to access the portal. So this is the email where it will ask you to access the property management. So I'll click on here. So a profile has been created for this particular tenant, and here they could see their units, their agreement information, and the screening. So if I click on screening, so since we have just moved this particular tenant to the screening process, again for the screening process they would have received an email saying update profile for screening. Right, so now by just clicking on this update, so the information that has been added by the owner will be auto populated. The tenant needs to add their current owner. Right, so let me add the current owner information and the current address of the tenant. And here the tenant needs to provide the proof. So their identity proof needs to be provided over here. So let's say I'm just uploading the Aadhaar as a proof of this tenant. So I'll upload this particular PDF. So this is my identity proof. I'll upload this. So once I upload this, we have an AI capability which we have enabled over here. So what we have done here is once I upload the file, so this will this will extract me the proof number from the file, and as well as it checks whether the submitted proof is a valid proof or not. So the validity status will be provided over here along with the proof number extracted. Right, likewise I can also provide a few more proof. So for example, let's say I'm providing the passport and I have the sample passport here. I'll upload this. Again, this will extract the passport number and the proof status, whether it is a valid proof or a invalid proof. Right, so now I'll just update it. So the screening, all the documents has been updated. Now if I go to the admin view, the Ginny will be moved to the screening process. So from here, the owner will be checking the proof. On the detail view, they will have the access to check the submitted proof along with the rest of the informations. Right, so they can just check this and they can approve the tenant screening process. So on approving this tenant will be onboarded successfully. So this will take you to the next UI where it will ask you to create the rental agreement for this specific tenant. Right, so either you can just add it from here, or I can just close it. I can go back to the rentals module which I have it over here. So within this module I could see all the active, the renew, vacate, expired, rejected, all the rental information over here. When I want to add a new rent, when I want to add a new rental agreement, I can click on the add rent, and over here, as I mentioned, we have used the AI to extract the text from the rental agreement and auto populate in the fields. Right, so what I'll do, I have the okay. So I have the proof over here. So this is the proof. I'll also open the proof and show you. So So this is the proof that I'm going to upload, right? So on uploading this particular rental agreement proof, this will help me to extract the text, the exact text wherever that I would like to add the. So if, for example, if it has the property name, it will extract the text and it auto populates to the respective field property, and as well as the unit information, the tenant, the base rent, security deposit, the start date, end date of the agreement, next pay date, and as well as the additional payment monthly, the agreement commission, unit appliance. So like this, whatever the data or whatever the whatever the data that you had inside your agreement, the rental agreement, once you upload the agreement, it will automatically, it will automatically extract the text and it will place them to the respective field, right? So over here, let me just change the tenant alone. I'll just choose the tenant as Jimmy and I'll submit it. If needed, I can add the other occupant details. So let's say it's hazel at gmail.com, and I can provide the phone number, the gender. I'll also have their date of birth, and the occupation of the occupant, the relationship. Now I can submit this. So once the agreement is created, then it goes for the approval process where the owner needs to check the agreement and as well as the tenant needs to approve the agreement. Right, so the tenant needs to check the terms and condition and then they can approve the agreement. So for in order to approve the rental agreement from the owner's end, can go to the approval, and over here I have the agreements tab. So you could see the agreement has been added. Now I'll click on, I can just click on here. A detailed view will be open where I could see all of the information. From here, the owner can approve the rental agreement. Right? Once the owner approves, it then goes for the tenant approval. So if I just reload. Agreements. So over here, I can click on the approve. So I can just click on the record and I can see the detailed view. So from here, I can click on approve, and this states that the tenant has approved the agreement. So that's it. It will take the tenant. Once the tenant approves the agreement, the tenant will be redirected to pay the security deposit. So you will find the custom button here. So by clicking on this pay button, you can pay. So we have just used the Paytm gateway to integrate for the payment related workflows. So I can just, if I have any bills, I can upload them and I can click on the pay, so that the status will get changed to paid, right? So once this is done, the next is so now the tenant is onboarded and they have moved into the property. So if I go to the tenant details, in my units, they can see the tenant as occupancy type as tenant and the all different sort of information, right? So this is one process where you can go ahead and add a tenant. You can proceed with the screening process, onboarding process, and you can create the rental agreement for the tenant, and the tenant will be moved into the respective property, right? So this is one process, right? Now apart from this, once the tenant is moved into the property, the tenant might face any issues within the property. So whenever they face any issues with the property, such as any plumbing related works or any electric related works, so all the any electrical related issues, so those complaints can be raised within this particular module, which is the complaints module, right? So on ticking off this raise a complaint, I'll be able to upload the damaged or the repaired item over here. So I'll say let me just quickly upload an image. So let's say there is an image which contains as the door is broken, right? So I'll upload this. Once I upload this information, this will get me the title. The door is damaged is the complaint about, and along with that, it also provides me a detailed description of what exactly happened or what exactly present in the image, right? And along with that, you could see the priority, whether it is high priority, low, or the medium. So again, this is something we have achieved with the help of AI, where it just where it just analyze what is present within the image, and it will gives you the detailed description of the image or the issues that is present within the image, right? So this is something that we have achieved with the help of Gemini. So we have integrated the Gemini with our Creator platform to perform this particular AI, right? Now once you submit this, so this particular complaint will be raised, and this needs to be approved by the owner, right? So he can go to the compliance over here. So it will show as requester. The owner can click on the record. He can see a detailed view. So once he verifies, he can approve the he can approve the complaint, and by approving it, he can also assign the vendor. So here he will be adding the expected date, the maintenance service. This comes under the plumbing, and assigned to the vendor. So this is something which you have already configured, right? When you are adding a property, you'll be assigning a certain vendor, right? So those vendor will be listed over here. So I'll click on approve. So now the owner is, the owner approved, and they have also assigned the vendor. Now there is a separate portal that we have for the vendor, and this is the vendor portal. So this is how the vendor portal looks like. So they will have their profile. So they can have all their services listed, the work order status, pending payments, and along with that, the open work order, ongoing work order, completed payments, all that. So all that they can maintain within this single dashboard. So here is our work order that we have created for the Skyline property. So they can click on this pick work order, and it will move to the ongoing work order. So this status will be shown to the tenants as well as the owners. So this will be moved to the ongoing work order, right? So you could see here, and the status is in progress, right? So once, let's assume the vendor has completed his work order. So on that case, he can click on this custom button complete. He can provide the vendor update. Let's say done, and the work order amount, let's say it's 10,000, and I'll submit it, right? So once this is submitted, this the payment needs to be he need to receive the payment for the work that he has done, right? So in order to receive the payment, again in the owner's view, I'll go to the compliance module, and within my compliance module, I'll have the tab called assign pay. So here either the tenant can pay for the vendor, or the owner can pay for the vendor. So that is something you can assign it over here. By clicking on here, you will be allowed to assign payment by owner or the tenant, or not applicable. So let's go with tenant, and here I'm not providing any commission. I'll just click on submit. So once this is submitted, if I go to the tenant portal, in the accounting, under the compliance, they will have the record. So by just clicking on this button, they can pay for the vendor. Now once the payment is done, and if the payment if the vendor receives the payment, they can go to the payments module, and over here you could see this is the one which is the Skyline property. They can just confirm the status that they have received. So it will be moved to the all status, right? So like this, you could see we can have a complete track of the work order that we are creating for the vendors, right? So likewise, the owner can have a track, and as well as the tenant and even the vendor can have a track for their payment related information, right? So this is another flow that I would like to explain for the compliance module. And apart from this, we have the accountings module, where all the monthly payment will be generated, and the compliance, security deposit, overdues, commission, all the details related to the payments will be maintained under the accounting. So let's say I just want to add a, so to be noted here, whenever a tenant, whenever you are moving, I mean, whenever you are adding a rental agreement, and whenever you are assigning a particular tenant to the respective property, so I mean, the payment, right? So the monthly payment will be automatically created, right? Whereas in some scenarios, if you would like to create it manually, you can click on this add, you have this button, right? Add payment. By clicking on it, you can just add the payment type. You can say income, and you can choose the property over here. We'll choose Skyline. The unit, payment date, let's say next month. The payer is going to be Ginny, and I can upload for the payment details. I have a bill receipt. I'll just upload it. So in the bill, I had the rent, water charges, rental tax, all these information. So it has fetched from the PDF that I have submitted, right? Again, we have used the AI to extract the text from the PDF. So I'll also show you the bill receipt. So this is the bill receipt where I had all my bills, like bills for rent, water charges, rental tax, all that, right? So it has just extracted those information from the submitted PDF, right? And then here I have the pay for monthly payment, the total amount, description, and if there is any other bills that I would like to add it for this particular user, I can add them over here. And I can click on submit. So the monthly payment will be created along with the bill number will be automatically generated, right? So this is about the accounting module. And apart from the accounting, we also have another module, which is the communication, where, as I mentioned, if there is any internal events or any activities are taking place within the properties, so those whatever the activities or events are happening, those information will be posted in this particular communication module, right? So that can be posted either by the admin or the owner or even by the manager. So I'll click on the add post. So here they can provide the title, the description, the URL, images if anything. Post to, here is where you can define whether you would like to publish the announcement to all the properties, or it is specifically for a particular individual. So if I choose the individual, here I'll be allowed to choose the users. So you would have added a user in the user module, right? So those user will be listed over here. So you can, if you want to have any announcement or to be shown only to this respective user, you can add them. So it will be in the multi select, right? So this is about the communication module that we have. So this is the complete application that we have built for the property management. So I hope I have just explained all of the different flows that we have within this application. So this is all about the solution that I would like to talk about in today's session. And apart from this, let us also discuss what are all the different extended use cases that we can implement within the application, right? So I'll go to the presentation. So talking about the extended use cases, so far we have seen how Zoho Creator helps manage the core property lifecycle from tenant onboarding to payment tracking. But what makes this solution truly powerful is its scalability. So it's not just limited to the rentals or the lease management. You can extend it to handle a wide range of use cases like the property listing and lead management, utility management, community or home homeowner association management, package delivery tracking for communities or apartments. So like this, you can go ahead, and so these are all just examples. The platform is really flexible enough to adapt to any workflow your property or community needs, right? So you can just go ahead and use any of these use cases, or apart from these use cases, you can just come up with your use cases and you can extend the application to your own specific use cases, right? And moving to the final part, we have the summary, where I'll just quickly tell you what are all the different features that we have used within the application. So we have used form workflows. So whenever, if you would have seen any automation within the forms, so that is something we have achieved with the help of form workflows. So which will be triggered when there's activity on a form, right? And then page components. So talking about the page component, so this is something which we have done within the page component. And also if I go to the property, or if I go to the setup, so all these, which is something that we have achieved with the help of page component, right? And we have so the page component will helps you to visually represent data with various UI or UX customization. So you can go ahead and bring in your own UI and UX customization within the Creator application. Then we have report workflows, which will helps you to perform custom action from the report interface. So if you would have noticed within this let me show you, within this tenants and within every report that we have it inside this solution, you could see the buttons, right? So these are all the custom buttons that we have created for the report workflow. And the users, so we have added different users, right? So you can add internal users, and as well as you can add the portal users. Then the AI models, so whenever you use the AI model, it will helps you to enhance the decision making and automate several actions within the application, right? So these are all the few of the features. So apart from this, we have also used many more features within the application, right? So this is all about today's session. So I hope I have just given you the complete overview of the application and different different process that we follow within the application, right? So this is all about in today's session. Now moving to the final part, if you would like to receive the application's DS file, and if you are a partner, then please access this URL or scan this QR code. Also, the links will be provided in the chat tab by my co-trainer. You can access the link from there and you can submit the request. So we will be verifying, and then we will be verifying your request, and then we'll get back to you via email, right? This particular process is only if you are a partner, right? Whereas if you are a customer or a prospect, then we will be providing the application portal access to you guys, right? So if you are a customer or a prospect, again, you will be receiving the portal access to the application. So if you are interested to get the DS file, again scan this QR code, or the links will be shared in the chat tab by my co-trainer. From there you can submit the necessary required information, right? And apart from this, I would like to share few updates from our end, which is nothing but the upcoming sessions. So we have our Creator Tech Connect series, which is going to happen in the next week. So if you are someone who are very much interested in to learn all the technical nuances in Creator, then this particular session is for you guys. So in this particular session, we will be taking a particular technical concept and we will be explaining it in this session, right? So for the next week's session, which is going to happen on May 15 around 9 p.m. IST. So for that particular time, for the next week session, we are planning to showcase the building data relationship using lookup fields. So it's going to be the data relationship series. So the first part is going to be all about building data relationship using lookup fields. So if you are someone who are who are looking to learn more about establishing the relationship, then this particular series for you guys. You can scan this QR code and register for this session. And also the links or the registration links will be shared in the chat tab by my co-trainer. You can access and you can register for the session. And for the next month, regarding the learning table series, again we have it on June 5th around 9 p.m. IST, and this time we are focusing on the visitor management. Right, so again we'll be showcasing you the visitor management, all the application flow, and what are all the modules, all that something we will be discussing within the session. Right, so the you can access this QR code, or the registration link will be shared in the chat tab by my co-trainer. And in case if you have any queries in future regarding the creator training and the certification or the webinars, you can always reach out to us by writing to training@zohocreator.com. Right, so I thank you everyone for actively participating in all of our webinar. So we will be expecting your participants in the upcoming webinars as well. Right, so thank you once again for joining in today's session. I hope the session the session was insightful and it was useful to every one of you. Right, so I'll be on mute. So if you guys have questions, we will be answering them. If not, we will be ending the session. Right, thank you once again.